is Histories and Mysteries Uncovered. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Jessica. And on this week's episode, Ashley will be doing the story of Murderess Angela Simpson. And I am going to be talking about Adrian Carton de Wiart.
Wow. I'm really turned on by that pronunciation. That was very sexy.
Thank y'all.
You're welcome.
I'll go tell Kyle that I'm moving to West Virginia.
Wow, say that again.
Adrian Carton de Wiart.
Oh, so pretty. I love it. It's French, right?
I don't know if it's like French or Belgian. He was all over the map.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he's another World War fighter.
Ooh.
I wanted to play off of 2 weeks ago because Leo Major was such a badass that I just wanted to do another badass. And he put Leo Major, he was crazy. This guy's fucking crazy.
I'm excited to hear. And how are you feeling, Miss Deathbed?
Obviously you can tell like not great still.
Yeah.
But my ear infection is gone, so that's good. I can finally hear a bit better, which is nice.
Yeah.
But I'm still very congested.
Yeah. You poor thing.
So apparently it'll just go on for a couple weeks.
Ugh, that sounds awful.
But that's okay.
On more health related news, I don't know if anybody cares, but if anybody out there has, can commiserate with me, I found out that I have to get a colonoscopy.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I found out yesterday because of my diverticulitis. So I got to go in and get a colonoscopy, and I don't wanna.
That sucks.
But they do put you like under like kind of how they do for your wisdom teeth, that same type of under like through the IV. They don't intubate you or anything like that.
Oh, that's so nice. They don't do that here.
Oh yeah, so I get like a whole day off of momming to like sleep in bed. So
See, a colonoscopy wouldn't be so bad if you could be put to sleep, but I don't think they do that here.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
So I'm not looking forward to it, but also a day of sleeping. I mean,
that would be nice.
Right? So if anybody's had one, please let me know that they're not awful. If they are awful,
horror stories,
just don't tell me.
Tell me.
Tell Jessica, and don't tell me till after, which I don't know when it is yet. So on an update really quick, we will be shipping out, I got the coffee mug, so the prizes that we had for our contest will be shipping out sometime this week, so you should see those in your mail soon. I tried to ship them out yesterday, but my post office didn't have any boxes, so I got to go to like Walmart or something and get some coffee mug boxes to ship so they don't break.
Did they not come in coffee boxes?
They came in packaging, and I took them out because I wanted to see what they look like. And then I threw the packaging away. So,
Ashley.
So I got to get new packaging. But those will be coming out. And for those of you who want to hop over to our Patreon and join us at the $3 level, we will be dropping our third bonus episode next week as well.
Yay.
Yeah, so head on over there and do that. And other than that, I think I'm going to hop into it.
Please do.
So I don't know, Jessica, have you heard on TikTok the interview? People like to lip sync over it's a guy saying you killed him and a girl says, of course. And you tortured him, of course. Have you heard that at all on TikTok?
No.
Okay, well, it goes around and it's usually women making jokes about their husbands doing something stupid and then they murder them. And at first I thought it was really funny because I thought it was from a movie or something.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, haha, that's really funny. Well, it's not from a movie. It is from a real murder. So it makes it a little less funny. I mean, a lot less funny. It makes it a lot less funny. And it's a pretty horrific murder. Pretty horrific. So
Do people even know this before they make their
I
videos?
don't know. I don't know. I would hope not, but I mean, we did see all those jokes that went around when those people died in the
Yeah,
ship
the
going to
capsule
Titanic.
thing.
Yeah. Anyway, so I got my sources from Vocal Media Criminal. It seemed like a news article magazine thing that was online, and it was an article by Sarah Wilson. Then I also got from Murderpedia and a news station that I didn't write down, and I can't remember which one. It was like CBS or NBC or something like that. And I watched her interview on YouTube. If you want to look it up, it's called Cold Blooded Woman Angela Simpson interview after getting life in prison. It's,
Was it chilling?
oh my gosh, Jessica. So chilling. I'll tell you about it. And I took notes. So I wrote her transcript down in here.
Ooh.
It's crazy.
All right, I got my butter tart and we're ready to go.
Let's do this. On August 5th, 2009, at around 5 a.m., police responded to a call about a fire in a parking lot behind a local church. It was called the Covenant of Grace Christian Fellowship Church. When fire arrived, they expected, at worst, a prank by some local kids, setting something on fire. Maybe someone who was homeless needed some heat and they set some trash on fire, something like that. Probably just someone having some fun along like that. But what they found shook them to their core. They found what would be one of Maricopa County's, and if you guys don't know Maricopa County, that's Phoenix, Arizona, worst murders that police department had ever seen.
Really?
Yeah.
And it was done by a woman?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
He must have pissed her off.
There's never a good reason for murder, but this is insane.
Ugh.
They found a body that the legs were cut off, and there was an attempt to cut one of the arms off as well, but they hadn't succeeded. And there were these pieces of this body in this trash can.
That is personal.
They saw that the body had been beaten, stabbed, teeth had been ripped out, the throat was slashed, and the person was strangled. Yeah, I probably should have said this before. This is pretty gruesome, and there is torture, so trigger warning.
The teeth.
Yeah. Police immediately started looking into this brutal crime, but they didn't have any leads. There was no witnesses. There was no evidence there, especially because the body had been lit on fire. So anything that was there, has been burnt up. They couldn't use dental records because there wasn't any teeth. And most of the fingerprints had been burnt as well in the fire. However, the medical examiner was able to piece together fragments of the fingerprints to get a whole fingerprint to determine that the body belonged to 46-year-old Terry Neely. The autopsy also revealed more details about Terry's extensive injuries. He had multiple blunt force wounds to his head. He was stabbed at least 50 times. His teeth had been removed in, quote, a very unprofessional way. So I'm assuming probably just pliers and pulling them out. His throat was slit. He had a 3-inch screw going through his forehead into his brain. And the worst part is all of these wounds had shown signs of healing, which means he was alive for all of this. The thing that finally killed him was strangulation.
What?
Yeah.
Out of all of that, that is what did him in, was strangulation.
Yep. All the rest of the wounds had started to heal.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So after police found out his identity, they started looking into Terry and who he was. He was a paraplegic and was confined to a wheelchair, but he did have limited use of his legs. He also had a mental disability, but was described as very friendly and very easygoing. He lived in an assisted living home, and police found out that they did have footage of him leaving the facility alone around 8 p.m. on August 2nd. So from 8 p.m. August 2nd to when they found his body August 5th, they couldn't account for his time. Weeks went by and nothing came of it. Again, there was no witnesses. There was no physical evidence at the crime scene. There was nothing. They had nothing to go on until finally an anonymous tip was called that someone had seen Terry's wheelchair outside an apartment building. So police went over to this apartment building and spoke to a witness who they believe is the building manager, but it's never really been officially released who the witness was. And the building manager said that at one point, one day, he had seen smoke coming from one of the apartments. So he went to investigate and he found a City of Phoenix trash can in the middle of this apartment's kitchen. He said that a lady named Angela Simpson and a man named Edward Cracker, his nickname was Cracker. Yes, he was a white guy, McFarland, later asked to use his car. When they came back, the witness obviously had questions, and apparently one of the two of them said, one source said it was Angela that had threatened him. One source said it was Edward that threatened him. So one of them said to him that they murdered and cut up a man, and if he said anything, they would do it to him too. That's why he kept quiet for so long.
Wow.
When police searched this apartment, they found Terry's blood everywhere. They found some carpet removed. They found a chair with a floor-length mirror in front of it, nose pliers, and a gallon of bleach.
So they're making him watch it all too. Oh, that's horrible.
They immediately went to find Angela Simpson and Edward McFarland, but had found out that actually earlier that day, those two had been arrested already for armed robbery. So they were already in jail, which is pretty easy, yeah, for them to go. So they went to jail and they found Angela Simpson, and she immediately confessed.
What?
She said that Terry was a snitch, and that's why she killed him.
Wow.
Police said that they don't have any record of him being an informant, although that doesn't really matter, but he had a mental disability. He was in a wheelchair. He most likely was not an informant, but for some reason, well, I know the reason, but she thought he was. Angela said that Terry had told her that he told on a, quote, righteous person years ago. And he had told her many times that he was an informant for the CIA and that everyone he snitched on was in prison. I think this was probably more of him trying to impress her. Like, oh yeah, you know, I work with the CIA type of thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But she thought that snitches were no better than pedophiles and that they all deserve to die.
Ooh, that seems a little extreme.
Yeah. When police looked into Angela's history, they saw that she had been in and out of prison for most of her adult life for fights, trespassing, carjacking, robbery, aggravated assault. So she was no stranger to violence. And she said they asked her if she had any remorse for killing Terry. And she said, I'm a little upset that I won't be able to, you know, kill more snitches, but I have no remorse for killing him.
That's your takeaway?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Apparently, what had happened was that Angela lured Terry out with the promise of drugs and sex. She said, hey, if you come over, I have some drugs and we'll have some sex. And when he arrived, she beat him with a tire iron until he was unconscious but still alive. She then put him up in that chair, tied him in with the floor-length mirror in front of him, and tortured him for 3 days. When asked why she put the mirror in front of him, she said that she needed to show him what he deserved.
That's so terrible.
Yeah, so he had to watch everything that was happening to him. She also said that he wasn't her only victim, but she later recanted and said, oh, that was just talk. That was just talk. So another source that I found said that Angela had borrowed Edward's car, not the building manager's car. So I'm not really sure the true extent of Edward's involvement. But being how we know what she feels about snitches, I doubt he would have snitched on her in any way. But as far as police are concerned, he had zero evidence linking him to the murder, so he was never prosecuted for this murder. But Angela was, and she took complete guilt for it. Angela pled guilty on March 22nd to first-degree murder and was sentenced to natural life in prison plus 14 years.
Good.
After her conviction, she sat down to be interviewed on TV. And this is the interview that we've been hearing on TikTok. And it is wild. She is so...
Sorry, I have a question.
Yeah.
You said life in prison plus 15, right?
14 years, but yes.
So what do they classify as life?
I don't know.
Because I don't understand that, how you can have life in prison, but then have
14
extra years added.
Yeah, it says, and the exact quote was natural life in prison.
Oh, okay. So that's probably like 75, 80.
That's what I'm seeing real quick, and I did a Google search is 80. But I guess it would probably depend. Let's see. People sentenced to life imprisonment can normally apply for parole after 7 years.
That doesn't seem right.
Yeah. I'm not really sure.
Like, if you are sentenced to life in prison, obviously you've done something horrible to deserve that sentence. So why would you be able to possibly get out after 7 years?
Yeah. That doesn't seem... Let's see. How long is a life in prison? A basic life conviction in the United States carries a minimum of 25 years before parole eligibility. 3 life sentences would mean the person wouldn't be eligible for release until 75 years have passed. So 25 years. How is that life?
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's weird.
All right. Well, moving along.
Yeah. So her interview is wild. Like I said, she's so cold and so matter of fact. So I'm gonna go through the interview for you.
Okay.
Reporter, you're very upfront. Angela, pretty much. Reporter, about talking about this killing. Angela, right. Reporter, you murdered this man? Angela, yes. Reporter, you tortured him? Angela, of course. That is the main TikTok line right there. Yeah. Reporter, in court today, you said you're not here to pretend to be remorseful. Angela, of course not. Why would I do that? Reporter, are you remorseful? Angela, not at all. Reporter, why? Angela, why would I be? Reporter, well, why did this man deserve to die? You claimed he was a snitch, but you haven't proven he was. Angela, well, he told me he was a snitch on many occasions, but that really doesn't matter. You guys wanted to kill me. Phoenix wanted to kill me. Everybody has a reason to kill. My reason may not be good to you, but your reason wasn't good to me. So, reporter, the incident. Can you tell me anything about what happened over those 3 days? Angela, what do you mean? Reporter, well, Angela, she took a deep breath like she was annoyed. She's like, I took him to my house, walked him down the street. I don't know why the media acts like the motherfucker couldn't walk. He walks very well. Walked him upstairs, kicked his ass, and then killed him. Isn't that insane?
It's not funny within the context.
Yeah.
But out of the context, it's very humorous how she talks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you said, she's very matter of fact.
Yeah.
And just very nonchalant.
Yeah. About something that's, yeah.
Yeah. No remorse.
No. Reporter, do you think it was fair today? that there was just in the courtroom? Angela, no, I don't. Reporter, why? Angela, I should have gotten the death penalty. Reporter, did you want the death penalty? Angela, no, I'd prefer to spend my life with my sisters. Earlier, and I didn't include this part in the interview, I kind of picked more of the dramatic pieces of the interview, I guess you could say. But earlier she had mentioned that she has a lot of family in prison, so she gets to kind of spend the rest of her life with her family. So that's where she said, I'd prefer to spend life in prison with my sisters. Yeah, I do believe that would have been justice. Reporter, so you deserve the death penalty, but you're glad with what you got. Angela, yeah. Reporter, do you believe him? Do you really think he was a snitch? Angela, oops, if he wasn't. Yes, I believe he was. Reporter,
oops.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck, lady.
Isn't that insane? Reporter, help me understand. For 3 days, I know crimes of passion or something, in the heat of the moment, but to spend 3 days driving nails into a guy's head, pulling his teeth out. Angela, right. Reporter, why? Angela, she got the smallest smirk on her face, Jessica.
Ew.
And she said, I found it necessary. Reporter, did you find it pleasurable or exciting? Angela, it was just necessary. Reporter, necessary. So this was more like a business proposition. You were doing something, a job that needed to be done. Angela, right. Reporter, really? Angela, right. Reporter, and whatever came into your head, I'm going to drive a nail into his head, or was that just a symptom of what was at hand at the apartment? Angela, right. Reporter, what would you have the world know? You're sort of an interesting character because, first of all, women generally don't commit crimes that heinous. Angela, right. Reporter, this is usually a domain of men. Angela, that's unfortunate. Reporter, so you think more women? Angela, oh yeah, equal opportunity, definitely. Reporter, and I know you're kind of being a smart aleck. Angela, slightly sarcastic. Yeah, I can do that. Reporter, but seriously, in some ways, I've been covering murder and mayhem. I've been covering serial killers to petty shoot 'em ups. And you don't meet many women that commit this kind of calculated long-term murder that you committed with this guy. And you don't meet many people who are willing to say, I did it, and, deal with it. Angela, right. That's the way it should be, in my opinion. Reporter, you seem almost self-righteous about it. I did it. Do you think you did the right thing by killing this guy? Angela, of course, definitely. Reporter, other than shooting his mouth off, what else did he do that you know of? Angela, that's what he got done for. He's white trash. Somebody had to take it out. That's it. Reporter, was there a racial component to it? Angela, oh, there's always a racial component. Reporter, okay, what do you mean by that? Angela, I'm not going to elaborate at all. And then she laughs. And then he said, okay, but the fact that you're a black woman and he's a white guy, that factored into your killing him? Angela, yeah, I wouldn't kill another black individual. Reporter, okay, if you had the moment to live over again, Angela, I would have kept him alive a week. Reporter, but you would have still tortured him and killed him? Angela, oh, I'd have tortured him for a week, yeah, instead of 3 days, definitely.
Wow, why did she only do 3 days then?
I don't know. They said they speculate that she either got bored or she just got tired of it. I don't know.
And I honestly thought when you were talking about the racial component that it would have been reversed.
Yeah.
Not her being her race and him being his race,
Mm-hmm.
I figured that it would have been opposite.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Reporter, so your only regret is that your torture didn't go on any longer. Angela, right. And I regret not killing my other victim. I should have killed him too. I just didn't have time. I had to go somewhere. Reporter, now tell me who that other victim was. Angela, Joseph Van Tress for the armed robbery. Yeah, I should have killed him, but I had to go. Reporter, will you kill again? Angela, if the opportunity arises, I hope so. Then she says, okay, we're done. And she starts kind of smiling. And the reporter says, are you done? And she says, yeah. And he says, all right, thank you, Angela. Then I kid you not, Jessica, you have to go watch this video, especially for the end of it. She flips on it's a switch. And all of a sudden, she's laughing and joking. And she said, "Good shit, dude. That's going to be crazy, isn't it?" Laughs harder. "That's going to be wicked. Make it look good, please." "Oh, you're going to put this on too? Don't put the ending on." Like, it's like a whole new person. She went from being this cold baseline, no emotion, to snap. "Good shit, dude. That's going to be crazy, isn't it?" Laughing and friendly. It was insane to see.
That doesn't make any sense.
It was crazy.
Huh.
And finally, when asked in some interview if she thought something was wrong with her, Angela laughed and replied with, "I think there's something wrong with the world that I live in. But according to other people, yes, something is wrong with me."
Yeah. Something's definitely wrong with you, lady.
Yeah. And that's the story of Angela Simpson.
So what happened to the other guy?
I think he's still in jail for the armed robbery, but nothing pertaining to this case.
Weird.
Yeah. And I just, the case itself wasn't very long because it was pretty cut and dry. I mean, she confessed at the end. They never really had any other suspects. They led them right to her, but just her interview is just
something else.
Yeah, it's insane.
Straight out of Criminal Minds.
It is. It really is.
She definitely listened to a lot of true crime podcasts.
Yeah. It's insane.
I don't understand how a woman could have done all of that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And just the crime, the way she tortured him, it seemed so much more personal than he's just a rat.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It was like you said, it was just so personal.
Yeah.
And like you said, it was kind of surprising, the race factor, because usually these really heinous crimes are done by white people.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah.
That's something else.
Yeah. So tell us your good story.
Okay. Yeah, so my story is really fascinating.
Yeah, I'm excited to be uplifted.
So again, it is the story of Adrian Carton de Wiart. And I got my sources from The Rake, All That's Interesting, and BBC News. So let's hop into it.
Let's do it.
Most soldiers would be forced to leave the fight if they lost both their left hand and left eye.
Wait, this is already starting off crazy.
But Sir Adrian Carton de Wiart, a British Army officer of Belgian descent, disagrees. He suffered, wait for it, 11 severe wounds over the course of 4 battles.
Oh my gosh.
Including, but not limited to, gunshot wounds to the face, head, hand, stomach, thigh, groin, and ankle.
Oh my gosh.
And if that weren't enough, he also shattered his back, attempted numerous escapes from an Italian prisoner of war camp, and survived countless plane crashes.
To be able to say that you survived any one of those things is amazing. Let alone all of them.
Isn't he dope?
That's crazy.
And we thought Leo was badass.
Yeah, these badass men, man.
He was severely hurt, but he still gave his all to his military duties, For instance, despite having 2 children with an Austrian countess through marriage, he neglects to ever mention them in his memoir. Instead, his memories are nearly entirely focused on his heroics throughout the battles that he fought. Adrian lived for battle, as his memoir, Happy Odyssey, makes abundantly clear. In it, he wrote, "At that moment, I knew once and for all that war was in my blood." He said in his book of the Second Boer Battle that broke out in 1899 between Britain and 2 Boer nations of South Africa. He said that he would offer himself to the Boers if the British weren't interested. Adrian was born in Brussels in 1880, although his family later relocated to Surrey, England, and Cairo. He was sent back to England for his secondary school, as was the case for many other well-off children of the time. He then continued on to Oxford, where drinking alcohol and playing cricket took precedence over any desire to pursue an academic career. Adrian was a brazen, larger-than-life personality from the start, even though he was just a teenager at the time. Although it was widely believed that Leopold II, the King of Belgium, was actually his biological father.
Oh.
Yeah. And yeah. That was never proven or anything, but it's widely believed that was the case.
Interesting.
He went back to South Africa for duty in 1901, where this time he enlisted under his real name and served as a commissioned officer until the war's end in 1902. He acquired British citizenship in 1907 and for a short time acted the part of an aristocrat.
I think you mean an aristocrat.
I do. So he played the part of an aristocrat while hunting fox and fowl across Europe. He found time to get married and have a family, as we mentioned. And when World War I started in 1914, Adrian was called back into active duty. His initial effort was to put down an uprising in British Somaliland. He rode into action there as a member of the Somaliland Camel Corps against the soldiers of Somali chieftain Muhammad Abdullah Hassan, also known as Mad Mullah by the British. I honestly believe that he regarded the loss of an eye as a blessing, and as it allowed him to get out of Somaliland to Europe, where he thought the real action was, said Lord Ismay, who fought alongside Adrian in Somaliland. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He was, sorry, this guy is just cool. I love him. He was engaged in trench warfare on the Western Front by the beginning of 1915. Adrian's left hand was crushed by a German artillery barrage during the Second Battle of Ypres. He tore off 2 of his own fingers after the doctor refused to amputate them.
Oh my God. I'd be done right there. I'd be like, you know what? I'm going to go be a paper man or something. Like, I'm done.
But later on that year, his hand needed to be completely amputated due to how mangled and damaged it was.
Well, I bet he just tore those bitches off. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Cool.
He continued to fight in the Battle of the Somme, undeterred and seemingly unimpaired. His fellow soldiers described how they witnessed the now one-handed man use his teeth to remove the pins from grenades before tossing them into enemy territory.
Okay, I thought that was going somewhere worse, so I'm good with the grenades.
Imagine. He used his teeth to rip off more limbs.
Oh my God.
When 3 unit commanders from the 8th Battalion, Gloucestershire? I never know how to pronounce those.
I don't either. I've heard of it, but
I'm
I
going
don't
to
know how
say
to say it.
Gloucestershire Regiment were killed during the attack on the village of La Boisselle in France in 1916. He further distinguished himself in combat there. After taking command of all 3 forces, Adrian was able to stop the enemy's advance. Adrian, now 36, received the Victoria Cross for his bravery. However, he modestly left this out of his memoirs, writing that it had been won by the 8th Gloucesters, for every man has done as much as I have.
I don't think so, dude.
But that is really cool. You can see his character there, right? Like,
yeah, that's kind of like in I'll never forget this. In Band of Brothers, they have interviews with the real people who were still alive at the time. And one of the guys said his niece or nephew or grandkid or kid or something came up to him and said, you know, were you a hero? And this old man gets like choked up and he says, I wasn't a hero, but I fought with heroes. And it just shows the character of these people.
Yeah.
That gets me every time. I cry every time I watch that damn thing.
Adrian's capacity to command from the front in some of the worst hellholes of World War I was responsible for the sheer number of severe wounds he received, as it was at La Boisselle. For instance, he was hit in the back of the head in the trenches of Devil's Wood, which ordinarily would have been fatal. Yet he lived.
Well, any of those things would have been fatal, especially back then. I mean, the fact that he didn't just get infections upon infections, especially ripping his own fingers off.
Well, and being in the trenches too, right?
Yeah. Just living through the infections is a miracle.
He was then shot in the ankle, hip, and leg during the next 3 battles, but he quickly recovered full mobility. His ear suffered a rather minor wound from the fatal shot that he received.
Wait, the fatal shot? He died?
Oh, wait, final. It says final.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Okay. I was like, fatal? He died? What?
I definitely said fatal, but it's final.
Okay.
He admitted that he had lost several body parts, but said, frankly, I had enjoyed the war.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
If I'm losing one body part, I'm done.
I honestly was just so sick and I feel embarrassed to be like, I'm dying in my bed right now when these people are getting shot.
Yeah, you have all your body parts, Jessica.
That's what you think. Adrian was certain to locate a conflict wherever there was one. He oversaw the British attempt to assist Poland between 1919 and 1921 as it was fought numerous wars with the Soviet Bolsheviks, the Ukrainians, the Lithuanians, and the Czech over wanted territory. He was in 2 plane crashes in 1919, one of which led to a lengthy stint in Lithuanian captivity. Cossacks then made an attempt to commandeer his observation train in August of 1920. He engaged them alone, armed only with a handgun. He tumbled onto the tracks while fighting, but he immediately jumped back onto the speeding train and dispatched his remaining foes.
Oh my gosh.
This guy's like friggin' Bond.
Yes.
Adrian, who was stationed in Poland, fell in love with the country while there and decided to stay when the Poles won the war in 1921. He retired in 1923 with the honorary rank of Major General, and the ensuing 15 years were spent daily shooting at his Polish estate.
Good on him, man. Enjoy what you like and do it in retirement. You enjoy retirement more than anybody I've ever heard.
Yep. Sadly, the Poles' period of peace was very brief as they were brutally attacked by both Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union in the early years of World War II. After being forced to flee Poland, Adrian returned to the UK and re-enlisted in the British Army. In 1940, he was then ordered back into battle and given command of an Anglo-French army in Norway. But his appearance laid the stage for the disastrous mission that would follow.
Oh, gosh.
When his seaplane was attacked by a German fighter plane, it was forced to make an emergency landing in a fjord. He resisted getting into a rubber dinghy since it would be a sitting duck. He remained there in the wreckage until the hostile aircraft essentially ran out of ammunition and took off. Yep. He casually boarded a naval warship that had been dispatched over before being brought to a shore. In Norway, Adrian didn't last very long. His troops lacked supplies and they were outgunned. However, with his guidance, his troops overcame obstacles to reach Trondheim Fjord while being pounded by the German Luftwaffe, which is just a German war vessel.
Oh, okay.
Withstood artillery attacks from German ships and avoided German ski troops. Imagine people just like coming at you on skis. Eventually, after being heavily bombarded, the Royal Navy was able to transport the soldiers safely out of Norway, and Adrian arrived in Great Britain on his 60th birthday. So he's still fighting, and he's almost like he's getting up there in his years.
I'm 36 and I'm exhausted.
Right? Winston Churchill selected Adrian to head a British mission in Yugoslavia in April 1941, but he never made it.
Oh.
His Wellington aircraft abruptly plunged into the Mediterranean while traveling from Malta to Yugoslavia. Until the main body began to sink, he and the British Royal Air Force crew sought cover on the wing. The 61-year-old Adrian then assisted a hurt, huddled colleague in swimming a mile to shore. And remember, this man doesn't have an extra hand. And he is helping another person swim a mile.
That's insane. That's
they
crazy.
And he doesn't have his left eye either. They reached the coast and were immediately taken by the Italians. Carton de Wiart was one of 13 high-ranking commanders held captive at, I found two pronunciations for this word, Vincigliata Castle or Vincigliata Castle.
Okay.
South of Florence. Found two different pronunciations.
Gotcha.
The detainees made many attempts to escape since they refused to stay locked up. They were so determined that they even dug a 60-foot tunnel through solid bedrock over the course of 7 months, freeing 6 of them in March of 1943.
And he's 60 at this point, or over 60.
Yeah, he's 61.
Oh my gosh.
They pretended to be Italian peasants, but the one-handed guy wearing the black eye patch stood out.
I bet.
And after 8 days, Adrian was quickly taken back into captivity. And I forgot to mention this part, but he was given a fake eye, and I think he just didn't like it, so he opted for the eye patch.
Okay.
So,
it's probably uncomfortable.
Eye patch guy, no hand.
Badass.
The Italians transported Adrian to Rome. to assist in talks with the Allies after deciding they were going to change sides. He returned to Britain on August 28, 1943, although he only stayed for a month before receiving a new assignment, serving as Churchill's special envoy to Chiang Kai-shek, the leader of China. Adrian accompanied Chiang Kai-shek to the Cairo Conference, where the Allies talked about Japan's post-war future before they left for China. Following the meeting, Adrian spent the next 4 years in China, where he managed to take part in another plane crash.
Oh my God.
And I wrote, LOL. He finally retired in 1947, but not before suffering yet another severe injury.
I thought you were going to say another plane crash. I was like, really? This man's just out of planes.
Imagine. He stopped in Rangoon on his way from China to England and slipped down some stairs, injuring his back and rendering himself unconscious. His war-torn body had a significant amount of shrapnel removed by medical professionals throughout his rehabilitation.
I bet.
Adrian Carton de Wiart was either the luckiest or the unluckiest soldier to have ever lived, depending on your point of view. Be a little bit of both.
Yeah.
He released his book after his service as a soldier and spent the majority of his days fishing before peacefully passing away in 1963 at the age of 83.
Oh, he lived a good old life.
I know. It's so nice.
Yeah, I like how he peacefully passed away. That's very nice.
Yeah. So some quotes about his life. For him to have endured all of those injuries and gone through so much rehabilitation in so many conflicts and to never give up is really inspirational, particularly given the inferior medical facilities they had then.
Yeah.
Soldiers like Adrian are a real example for troops serving today. It's quite sad that having sacrificed so much, his story isn't particularly well known.
Yeah.
I think as well as remembering the war dead, it is vital we remember what injured soldiers like him went through in countless conflicts.
Yeah.
Adrian did have a habit of getting injured, but this is simply testament to his belief of leading from the front. He inspired his men with the simple and eternal words, "Follow me." Those words remain the mark of a truly courageous leader, be it on the Western Front or 100 years ago, or today in military operations around the world. And that is my story on Adrian Carton de Wiart.
Wow. That's insane. Can you imagine?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, that's insane.
Yep.
Good story. Good story. Much better than mine.
Thanks. No, yours was good. Yours was just the wrong kind of good.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
So they're not jokes this week, but I have fart facts.
Why?
Like animal fart facts.
Again, why?
Because it came up on my TikTok and I thought it was funny. Do we want to hear some animal fart facts?
I guess.
All right.
Yes.
These will blow you away, okay? Lemurs use their farts to have stink fights.
Oh my God.
They rub their hands in the stench and then wave their hands at their enemies.
That's hilarious.
Blue whales can create fart bubbles so big that you could fit a horse inside.
Oh my God.
Zebra farts are so loud that they can be heard from miles away. Zebras also fart with every step they take when running away from a predator.
Listen, don't embarrass them. They're doing their best.
Ferrets scare themselves when they fart.
So do my dogs sometimes.
This is so funny. Termites fart so much that they are responsible for 3% of global methane emissions.
Wait, what animal is that?
Termite.
Okay.
And because cows have 4 stomachs, they're constantly farting. They're responsible for 14% of the world's greenhouse gases each year.
Well, then poor cows, they're doing their best.
Oh, and manatees use farts to help them float.
I love a good manatee. that checks with chart.
Yeah. Anyways, I thought that was a little different than our little dad jokes.
Yeah, that was cute. That was cute.
Thanks.
If you want more of us lovely ladies, you can find us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram,
TikTok,
and Patreon.
Yeah, and if you want to rate and review us, nice things, you can do so on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, we got a comment saying that we say and like too much, and
I'm real sad about it.
We're trying real hard. It's real hard.
I want nice comments, okay?
Jessica, nice things only.
I don't mind the mean things, but like, haha, it's hard. It's the way I talk, okay? Can't help living my truth.
Live my truth. We're trying. We're trying real hard on the ums and like. My 4th grade teacher would be so sad.
So anyways.
Well, yeah, thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to bringing you 2 new stories next week.
Bye.
Bye.